What type of sex addict am I? Well, if you've already established the fact that, hey, I'm a sex addict, you didn't know that there's different ways of becoming a sex addict. So I'm going to give you the very shortest version of this possible. Number one, biological addicts are the type of person who have used the sexual release system that gives the chemicals, that rewards the images, okay, and they've used their brain and neural pathways, and now they have a neuropathic, addictive type pattern to these images and fantasies and pictures. That's a biological addict. They've not been abused, abandoned, neglected. Psychological. They usually have abandonment issues, family of origin issues, or psychological pain. The pain as a 10, 12, 14, 15-year-old person pushes them to medicate. They find the ejaculation response or orgasmic response, and bam, that feels great. But if they're gluing to something, now they become addicted to what that is. But the pain is the driver to do that. Thirdly, a spiritual-based addict is someone who doesn't really have a religion, doesn't have a spiritual connection, and they find fantasy world. Whether it's boo-boo mommy or boo-boo daddy, they're always there. Unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, and they actually use their sexual addiction as a form of spirituality. And so that becomes the way that they kind of fill that little God box there, okay? And so that can be the case. Now, there are a lot of people who have religion who also find themselves addicted, but oftentimes it's because of other reasons that we're getting into. Number four, you can be sexually addicted because of sexual abuse. 80%, whether they're men or women who are sexual addicts, like myself, have been sexually abused. And that trauma, in this particular case, becomes repetitive. And they actually, in their sex addiction, repeat the same trauma. I could tell you hundreds of very sad stories of people who've been abused tragically and then repeat that exact same behavior in their sexual addiction. Okay? Number five, you can have what we call sexual anorexia and be a sex addict. Okay? This person has problems with intimacy. They blame their spouse, they withhold love, withhold praise, withhold sex. They control with money, they control with anger and silence, and oftentimes they're blaming their spouse for the problems in the relationship. This is someone who stays very busy and the spouse feels very alone. On one side, they're avoiding intimacy. On the other side, they have a sex addiction. Wow, that can be very tough. The last one is someone who is a sex addict and also has a mood disorder. They're chemically depressed, they have bipolar disorder or manic depression disorder, their brain's out of balance. And so what they've done as a kid is they use the endorphins and enkephalins from the sexual release to try to balance the brain. So now they have an active disorder and a sex addiction, and actually that person will have to do some work on both sides. Listen, no matter what type of sex addict you are, and if you are, go to the website, there's a test you can take to find out. But you can get better if you're willing to do the work that you deserve to have a free life from sexual addiction.